And joining us now, sitting on the hot seat, he is, of course...
I'm not a hot seat.
All right. He is the mayor of Baltimore. He is Bernard Jack Young, and it's good to see him again. Appreciate you coming in this morning, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here this morning.
I know that there's a lot more going on in your life, not just even with trying to run for a second term, but there's a bigger issue that we're dealing with. Before we get to the topics, I know there's a lot of people in town that are like nervous. Is there going to be an opening day here in a couple weeks? We're going to have those types of things. What are you dealing with right now as mayor of our city?
Well, with this coronavirus spreading, we have 7 cases that have been identified in Maryland with, I think, 3 in Montgomery County, 1 in Prince George County, 1 in Harford County, I think 1 in Anne Arundel County. We have no reported cases here in Baltimore, and I'm hoping that we don't have it, but we're prepared. I had my team to do some situational responses of what would happen if we had a large amount of cases, and we're really prepared. Our school system, all of our city agencies are working to coordinate a rapid response. And I'm pretty much happy with what we're doing. We're working with our federal partners, the CDC, the Maryland State Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, and my health department, and local hospitals. We're all, working together to have a response in case it actually hit us.
Again, understanding that like the real human impact is more significant than a sports game, right? Like I need you to know that I get that,
absolutely.
Right? And I'm the first to say, hey, if this is what we got to do, this is what we got to do. That's the way it works. We can't be selfish about this stuff. But you know the impact of opening day. You understand what it means to the city, maybe more than anybody else does. Are you nervous at all about it at this point?
To be honest with you, I'm not nervous. We're asking people to take precaution, making sure that they use soap and water, and make sure that they wipe off door handles and those things that you touch daily. Keep your hands out of your mouth and out of your face and eyes, and just be precaution, And if you're sick, stay home.
Right.
Right. That's the message we're sending to everyone. And we're relaxing our policy as it relates to people calling in sick, because we don't want people coming in spreading a virus, whether it's corona or any other virus. And we're really pushing that hard to make sure that our workers know that we understand that if they're sick, we want them to stay home.
But just for our
people who have traveled in these countries that have been identified,
right,
that they will go and quarantine themselves, and if they have any symptoms, to call their healthcare provider, give them those symptoms before they attempt to go in.
No plans as of right now to not have large crowds.
I haven't heard of the Orioles saying they're going to cancel opening day.
Right. And as a city, there's no plan to say, hey, we're not going to do crowds of more than 1,000 or something like that at the moment.
No, not at the moment. But we're asking people to be cautious.
Okay.
To make sure that they go to our website, which is the Baltimore City Health Department website, or go to the Center for Disease Control's website, or the Maryland State Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. All that stuff is on our website, the do's and don'ts, and how to keep yourself safe.
All right, and I appreciate that. But again, understand the real-life issue of this is far more important than the silly sports stuff that we do on a day-to-day basis, but that's what we do here. So obviously that's what we're going to be talking about, because we all want to go hang out for opening day and feel a sense of normalcy.
I'm looking forward to it.
And I think it would speak. I'll let that get into some of the things we've been talking about with the forum that we've been doing the last couple of weeks, and I'll start with some of the Orioles stuff, which is what it means to the businesses downtown and how much it would disrupt them if they were to lose, an opening day type of event. But, there's, I guess, a bigger question that we've had the last couple of years. There's a lease that's coming up with the Orioles in the city regarding Camden Yards, and there are people that are nervous and that are anxious about the future of the Orioles. And I don't know that anybody actually believes the Orioles are going anywhere, but they still want to have that relief of knowing that they're locked in, right? Where are you as far as the future of the Baltimore Orioles?
Well, the lease with the Orioles is not with the city of Baltimore. It's with the state of Maryland, with the Stadium Authority. And I haven't gotten any indications that the Orioles are leaving Baltimore. I know there's been a lot of talk about it, them moving to the West Coast. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm looking forward to the Orioles in their rebuilding efforts to put a winning team on the field. And I'm just looking forward to us going to many, many baseball games for years to come.
Again, separating from, we keep doing the thing where I say you've got more important things that you're dealing with as mayor, but is that of significance to you?
Yes, it is. Okay. Yes, it is. Losing the Orioles would be a significant loss to citizens of Baltimore and people around the state who come to Camden Yards to enjoy a baseball game. I wouldn't want to see an empty stadium sitting there with no baseball team, and I don't think the Angelos family wants to see that either.
Yeah.
Mr. John Angelos bought the team to keep him right here in Baltimore, and I think his sons, who are running day to day for the team, wants the same thing.
Right. So John and Lou obviously running the team, right? And John has come out strongly and said, it was as long as Fort McHenry is standing watch over the harbor, we're going to have the Orioles in Baltimore, and we have every reason to take him at his word.
And I believe him.
Yeah.
I believe him. It was speculation because of where he spends some of his time.
Yeah.
And
owns a house in Nashville, right?
And that kind of thing. But Baltimore is a baseball town, and the Orioles belong here. And I don't think the Orioles are going anywhere.
So, Mr. Mayor, let's talk about the fact that the crowds have been down the last couple of years at Camden Yards, and you maybe more than anybody understands that there's maybe a perception problem and a reality problem that goes into that. And you hear all sorts of different things about why people maybe don't want to come downtown. And, yes, obviously part of this has to do with the fact that the team hasn't won as many games the last year or two as well. But trying to get people back downtown for baseball games during the course of the summer, as you look towards another term as mayor of our city, what's the significance of that for you, and how do we go about getting people to come back downtown?
Well, we have to, first of all, put a winning team on the field, and we need to have fans who are true Oriole fans to continue to come and support the team, whether they're losing or not. Just come and support a young team that one day soon is going to put a winning formula together, and we're going to be competing in the playoffs and possibly win a World Series. I'm that optimistic that if we put a winning team on the field, people will come. But we want to make sure that those who are diehard Oriole fans not stop coming to the games because they're losing, And as for people not coming downtown, well, at the Ravens games they come downtown with the perception of crime and everything, but we have add additional police down in the downtown area to the tune of 13 extra police officers that are working in the downtown area. And, we also have the MTA police that are there, the Maryland State Police. They're all there around the stadium and in that downtown corridor for all games. So people should feel that they can be pretty safe coming to these games. They feel pretty safe coming to the Ravens games.
Right.
They felt pretty good coming to the concert that was at
the Billy Joel concert.
The Billy Joel concert. So I don't buy the notion that people are afraid to come to Baltimore.
So to you, it's a perception, or it's not a reality problem as much as it's a perception.
It's a perception,
problem.
And we have to change that perception.
So how do you do that, I guess, is the question.
You do that by saying, hey, Baltimore is safe in downtown area. Where Baltimore is safe is what happens is crime of opportunity. If I have a beef with you and I happen to see you and I carry a gun, I'm going to go ahead and shoot you. But it's not like everyday people are getting shot in the city of Baltimore. It's people who have issues with each other that are fueling the crime. And I just want to say this. Crime is down in Baltimore City in every category with the exception of murders and shootings. And so far this year, we have arrested 23 people connected to murders in the city of Baltimore for a 57.4% clearance, trying to get these folk caught and into jail. And that's what we're doing. So we just want to encourage people to just come to Baltimore. Baltimore is no different than any other city. Crime is in all cities, okay? I'm not happy that we are leading in murders. I don't want people to get that perception. And one who have lost 3 nephews to murder in the city of Baltimore, and just recently, 3 weeks ago, a young cousin who was 22 years old. I know how I feel, and I know how it affect the family. I know how it affect the community. But overall, people can come downtown. It's safe. There's nothing wrong with coming downtown.
Is there by the way, we appreciate Mayor Jack Young being in studio with us here on Glenn Clark Radio for our GCR Mayoral Forum. Getting people to games via public transportation has been something else that's come up a lot, that it's a pain, and it's not comparable to a lot of other cities where There are, and not every city has great public transportation to try to get to their games, but a lot of cities do. That's something that comes up a lot in conversation with people when they say, this is why I'm not going to games anymore, or in downtown in general. Mm-hmm. Has that been something for you that you have been trying to focus on, or is that something that in a next term as mayor...
You got to explain what you're referring to me.
Having more and better public transportation options.
Yeah, well, that's an MTA, a state issue, but we've been working with our state partners. As you know, we have lanes now just for MTA buses that get people there quicker. We also have the light rail to get people into downtown. And we have tons of garages where people can ride in and park their cars. So those who are using public transportation, we need to work with MTA to make sure we can have a quicker and better, transportation system. And we're working on that. We have bike lanes now where people can bike into the stadium area. So we're trying to have every mode of transportation. I supported the Complete Streets, which looks at sharing the road with everybody, bicycles, cars. The road is just not for cars.
Right.
It's for other modes of transportation. And then we have the trail that people can walk through the trail to get to games and stuff like that. I just want people to know that it's safe to come to games downtown. It's safe to... They come to Raven games. They come to the Billy Joel concert. They come to concerts down at the arena. And people should feel a sense of safety. Like I said earlier, it's people who are targeting one another because of whatever issues they have. Like coming out of jail, somebody might have said something or done something to me. And I see them as a crime of opportunity. And I just go and shoot them or shoot her. And it's not that it's the right thing to do, because we have conflict resolution. We also have mediation. And I just wish people would look at those other options.
Obviously, somebody would bring up, like, unfortunately, sometimes there are bystanders, and unfortunately, sometimes there ends up being collateral damage in that situation. Look, those situations alone are not okay. And nobody's saying
it's not okay.
Right.
And it can happen. It can happen anywhere.
Right.
In any city. Anywhere. But we're working very hard to drive down crime in the city of Baltimore, working with our state, federal, and local officials. We're looking at the technology that we need. The governor promised us $21 million. We got 2.4 of that, and we need him to give us the rest of the money so we can finish doing what we need to do with that, because we're setting up community intelligence centers that's going to be housed by a prosecutor, a civilian analyst, and a neighborhood liaison with police sergeant and a few officers to man that, so we can track the data to target those who are committing the most serious crimes in the city of Baltimore. And we're just waiting on that money from the state so we can get this stuff rolling.
Mayor, you mentioned the arena a second ago, and obviously that's another thing that we've been talking about, because we've been talking about it for decades around here, the future of the arena. And I know that you've been involved a lot of it. I remember how intimately you were with the Capitals coming to play at the arena a few years ago. We all think that team, what they've done, Frank and his group, it's been amazing how they've been able to get world-class events into that building and continue to make it a profitable building. But I think there's a lot of people that wonder what more could be done. Well, what if we gave his team, something even more significant in order to work with moving forward? As, again, running to re-election as mayor, where are you with the need for a new arena, further renovations to the current building? Where is that on your priority list?
Well, first of all, I want to say Frank is a dynamic general manager there at the arena, at the Royal Farm Arena. Has done a great job,
remarkable job
of getting all these acts here. And, yes, we need to update that. And we're in talks about that now. We have people who have float proposals to the Baltimore Development Corporation about where they want to locate one. I think the arena where it is centrally located with parking garages that are around it. And as we go into further talks, maybe we can do a public-private partnership where we can incentivize, the operator to do major improvements to it. Because right now we're dealing with the Kerwin Commission, where we have to, come up with $190 million for our schools. So you have to look and prioritize what's more important. And I would say our schools are more important right now. But however, I am looking forward to a public-private partnership for the arena, or maybe somebody just buy it outright and build it themselves.
If you are reelected as mayor, do you feel like there's
If or when?
All right, look, I'm gonna let you say that. I'm gonna do the part where I got to do the journalism side of this.
If
right?
or when?
So, do you believe there's a chance that we could actually finally see progress, something tangible towards the next arena or the future of the arena in your next term?
I think so, because there have been interest, and I really can't divulge that right now.
Sure.
But there have been interest from some, arenas, some sports conglomerate that are running arenas around the country that have shown interest in that. We have some local people who have also expressed interest in redoing an arena in 2 different sites. One was talking about where the incinerator is right now, and one was talking about where Pier 6 is right now.
Interesting. Oh, I do remember that. Yeah,
so,
I do remember that.
I mean, all those ideas are floating around. However, it's just talks right now. So hopefully in the next administration that we can have a sit down with some serious talks and get the best deal for the citizens of Baltimore.
What could come if, again, knowing that you know a little bit more about this because you were involved in getting a major event to come to the arena once upon a time. What could this city benefit from?
More than once.
Yeah, sure, certainly. I think people prominently remember how
and
involved
then we
were.
have the indoor football league that came here.
Right.
As well.
Yeah, absolutely. But what could be? Could this city be a NCAA tournament type of city?
We're bringing the CIAA here.
That's already at the facility. No doubt that'll be a major event.
Charlotte, North Carolina, and we were able to, negotiate with the CIAA to get them to come to Baltimore starting in 2021 for 3 years. And hopefully, if we cross our T's and dot our I's and get everything lined up like we are planning to do, we can have them longer than 3 years and have all those people who were traveling to Charlotte to now come to Baltimore. Because as you know, Morgan and Coppin used to be in the CIAA before they went to MEAC. So, and there's a lot of followers.
It's a major event.
Right.
It's a major event.
And that would be a boost to the city of Baltimore to the tune of $50 million in spending.
No question.
So.
All right. Maybe the topic that you know the absolute most about of everyone that we've had in to talk with us is the future of the Preakness and of Pimlico. Is obviously you were at the center of the agreement that came together to keep the Preakness here in Baltimore and to reimagine Pimlico Racecourse. I guess let me start with, where is your confidence that this is going to get done during this legislative session, and that by the time you would be sworn in for your next term as mayor, we would already know exactly what's going on?
Well,
most
of it is done. It passed the Senate. I'm not sure. I think it passed the House. So I guess it goes to the governor, and I'm hoping that the governor will sign it. But everything is looking positive right now with the Pimlico situation. It was at a deadlock where the city was suing and they were suing the city. And I went to the Preakness, and people said, "Oh, don't trust them, don't talk. They don't want you there," and it was far from the truth. And I saw Belinda Stronach, and I introduced myself and asked her, how can we, stop the stalemate, and how we can make sure that the Preakness stay in Baltimore and she get what she wants for law. And she said, hey, stop the lawsuit. And that's what I did. And I told her I'm going to trust her and her team, that we're going to work together for, a resolution of this. And it happened. And I'm happy to say that she kept her word, I kept my word, and it's moving.
And you are confident that this...
I'm very confident.
Right. And
very confident.
So I don't know. I know it passed the Senate. Did it already pass the House as well?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
yet.
I don't know if it's
I've
passed
been dealing with a lot of other things.
I understand. I totally understand right now.
And I'm quite sure it already did.
So as far as what it means, not just for the track and the race, and obviously those are very significant things, but everybody keeps talking about the community and Park Heights. Mm-hmm. Your confidence in Park Heights rising up a little bit with this future, renovated Pimlico? I
think it will, because once Pimlico starts its renovation process, its development is going to be all over Park Heights. In that deal, we're getting a substantial amount of land that's given
it is remarkable,
to the
no
city
question.
That we're going to put out for RFPs for different uses around there. Somebody floated a hotel. We're hoping that there's retail grocery stores and those kind of things. But whatever we do, it's going to be community driven. We want the community to be at the table to decide some of the things they want to see in their community. And a lot of people are worried about gentrification, and I'm also worried about that. So I'm keeping my eyes on that as well, so that this community won't be gentrified.
Sure.
Because we have to protect those who have been in these neighborhoods for years and years and years, and when development come, I don't want them priced out of their own neighborhoods.
Right.
So we're watching all that stuff, and hopefully, the community will be at the table to make sure that they're included in every phases of this redevelopment.
Have there already been like the talks or conversations about other events and other ways that the new facility can be?
Yes. It's not just going to be for racing. Because we don't want the lights out when there's no more racing.
Right.
We want to look at other things that can happen there, and the community have to be on board with those things. Take for instance concerts.
Yep.
Other types of activities there. We want that place to be used when racing is not there.
I mean, that's very important. It's something that again, unless there's going to be 300 days of racing or something like that, it's really critical that a facility be used that way. That ties into the news that we got from the Senate yesterday, which is they passed the sports betting bill overwhelmingly, 47-0, and it included Pimlico, the other Laurel as well, and also Timonium Fairgrounds. Obviously, those things not as important to you.
That's important to me.
Okay.
It generates tax revenue that we're going to try to make sure we get a part of it.
Sure, I understand that. I do understand that. But let's talk about Pimlico specifically getting sports betting. How critical for you is it that nothing changes, the bill that passed the Senate, that would continue to be an option for the future Pimlico, that the House delegates doesn't change anything, that nothing changes between now and then?
I don't think they're going to change anything significant to derail or change, what we're trying to do at Pimlico. I think they clearly understand. I spoke before both committees, the House committee and also in the Senate, and we got rare reviews, and they thought it was a project that was well thought out and well put together.
Sports betting specifically being part of the future Pimlico, how important is that to you?
I think it's important to those who like to do sports betting.
Sure.
I don't do sports betting, but those who do it, I think it's important to them.
Is it important for the viability of the facility? I
think it is to bring more people there to do the betting, the sports betting. So for those who like sports betting, I'm quite sure they're excited that it's going to happen in Pimlico. I'm just hoping they come there and do it rather than going somewhere else.
Sure. I mean, obviously, at the moment, it would be for the city, it would be Pimlico, and it would be the casino would be the options for sports betting. There have been people that said, hey, why wouldn't the Ravens or the Orioles, somebody like that, want to have the same thing, have a book at their facilities? Would you be inclined?
Look, that's up to them.
Okay,
that's the stadium authority.
I guess what it says. Would you be inclined? I
don't want to interfere in
or force
what the state is doing.
I get that.
That's between the team and the stadium authority whether they want that added to the stadiums. That's something I don't want to really get involved in.
Okay, as mayor, would you be okay with there being more in general, just generally more options for sports?
What I would say is I would leave it up to the Maryland Stadium Authority and how they deal with the Ravens and the Orioles and what they want or what they don't want.
I understand what you're saying, and certainly that's going to be something that's going to play out over the course of the next year as this looks like it's headed towards the ballot in November. Mm-hmm. Mayor Young, I appreciate you coming in here this morning and talking to us about these things. Again, knowing there's a lot more, you're trying to figure out crime, you're trying to figure out schools, you're trying to figure out really important things. But I think what we constantly say is that, perhaps like a future arena, a new arena could involve jobs, could involve some of these things, could help in some of the other solutions to the problems that you're probably dealing with as mayor right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing some other things. My play campaign where I had the public schools and the private schools playing, and the champions played at Canada Yards, so those young people could see their pictures and their numbers and name flash across the screen. And, that was a very successful thing until the Maryland State Board of Education got involved and say, hey, you can't do this anymore. So we had to change it from that format to an all-star game where after the season is over, those guys were selected
to come down
by the coaches. Yeah. And we did an East, East Side private and public schools against the West Side public and private schools, and it turned out to be good. And the young people, they loved it.
I know it means a lot to them.
Playing on the major league field and dreaming, hey, one day I can be here. So that's something that was just a great event.
Is it, again, some of these things not being directly your purview, but I think about, like famously Calvert Hall and Loyola played in the city for years in the stadium, and they've moved out to Towson. Those things, like, City Poly obviously is a big one now. Of course, they're going to play in the city no matter where they play. But is it significant for you specifically that these events be in the city, be at big stadiums?
Absolutely. I think it's the right thing to do. And I think working with the stadium authority and the teams, I think they should allow that to happen. They're worried about the condition of the field, but these are football games. These are baseball games. You can always go out and do the same thing you do for your professional teams. You can do it for the high school teams as well. And it also give them young people an opportunity to play on a pro field.
It's unbelievable.
And they can dream. Hey man, I can play here one day.
It's an incredible feeling. And I mean, I never got the opportunity to do it myself, but I can only imagine walking out there like, oh my gosh, it's like that scene in Hoosiers, right? Like you walk in and you say, what is this? Mayor, I know it's at Mayor BC Young on Twitter for you. Is there a different for the campaign?
It's MayorJackYoung.com. One word, MayorJackYoung.com.
All right. In order to find out more, and obviously Mayor Young is running for re-election here in the boy, we're only about a month away, huh? We are really up on it at this point. Mr. Mayor, really appreciate you coming in and joining us to talk about these things this morning.
It's my pleasure.
And we will see you. I have no doubt we'll be seeing you out there. I'm fingers crossed.
You'll see me.
But we'll see you in 2 Thursdays out wandering the streets as we hopefully will all be able to enjoy opening day.
Absolutely.
Things remain well. Thank you for coming in here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll come back in and wrap up.